Sylvester Stallone had spent years around power, real power. The kind that bent steel bars in gym corners. The kind that made heavy bags swing like wrecking balls. The kind that silenced entire rooms when it walked in. And behind him, almost everywhere he went in those early years, stood one man. 6.5 feet tall. 350 pounds. A human barricade. People stopped arguing with mid-sentence. His bodyguard didn't posture, didn't threaten. He simply existed. And fights ended before they started. No one tested him. No one wanted to. But in a narrow backstage hallway in Los Angeles, 1972, something happened that Stallone would never forget. Not because the giant lost a fight. Because he never even got one. Bruce Lee didn't overpower him. Didn't outmuscle him. Didn't even hit him. He simply removed the giant's strength until the giant collapsed under his own power. And in that quiet hallway, Stallone watched something terrifying. Strength without structure, self-destruct. Backstage smelled like warm dust and sweat. Bare bulbs hummed overhead. Concrete walls swallowed sound instead of echoing it. Extension cords crawled across the floor like lazy snakes. It was a small Los Angeles venue, the kind that hosted everything. Low-budget film screenings, martial arts demos, late-night experimental crowds. Bruce Lee stood near a dressing room door, 32 years old, 5'7", around 138 pounds, lean and defined, but not bulky. Every muscle visible, none wasted. A body built for speed and control, not size. Short black hair, sharp cheekbones, eyes that looked relaxed but missed nothing. Black athletic vest, black training pants, barefoot on cold tile. Ray stood nearby, arms folded, watchful, grounded. Used to rooms like this, two young martial artists waited along the wall, trying not to stare. Students, not fighters yet, hungry for anything Bruce might show them. Bruce demonstrated slowly. One step forward, a pivot, a sudden stop mid-motion. Perfect balance. Then a short punch snapped forward and vanished. Too fast to track fully. Too controlled to make noise. One student blinked. "Did you tense before that?" he asked. Bruce shook his head. "Speed is not adding more," he said quietly. "It is removing what should not be there." He tapped his chest lightly. "Structure first. Everything grows from there." The students nodded, absorbing it. Then footsteps approached. Heavy, confident, unhurried. Sylvester Stallone appeared at the end of the corridor. Mid-20s, still years away from Rocky. Still chasing opportunity instead of creating it. 5'10", thick shoulders from lifting. About 175 pounds. Dark hair slightly messy, eyes intense, searching. The look of someone who refused to stay small forever. He spotted Bruce immediately. Recognition sparked. "Hey," Stallone said, stepping closer. "You're Bruce Lee, right?" Bruce nodded once. "Nice to meet you," he said calmly. Stallone smiled. "I've been hearing your name everywhere," he admitted. "Gyms, actors, stunt guys. Everybody's talking about you." Bruce gave a small smile. "Stories travel faster than truth," he said softly. Stallone laughed. "I'm trying to learn movement," he said. "For acting, fight scenes, presence, all that." Bruce studied him briefly. Not a martial artist yet, but driven, focused. "You train?" Bruce asked. "Some boxing, mostly lifting," Stallone said. Bruce nodded. Then his attention shifted. Behind Stallone, the hallway darkened slightly as the bodyguard stepped forward, and suddenly the space felt smaller. 6'5", 350 pounds, not soft weight, dense weight, neck like a pillar, forearms thick as baseball bats, hands large enough to wrap a man's skull, black shirt stretched tight across his chest, expression unreadable. His name was Tony, and he radiated quiet dominance. Ray noticed instantly. So did the students. Bruce simply observed. Tony crossed his arms and studied Bruce in silence, not curious. Evaluating. Stallone kept talking, Films, training, struggles, but Tony never looked away from Bruce. Finally, Ray spoke. "You need something?" he asked. Tony didn't look at him. "That him?" Tony asked Stallone. "Yeah," Stallone said. Tony's eyes narrowed slightly. "That's the guy people scared of?" The air shifted. The students froze. Ray's jaw tightened. Tony tilted his head, still staring at Bruce. "He don't look dangerous," he said flatly. Stallone exhaled. "Tony?" But Tony took a slow step forward. Floor creaked under his weight. "I've handled fighters," Tony said calmly. "They all the same." He looked down at Bruce. "Small ones break first." Silence thickened. Bruce met his eyes calmly. No tension, no offense, just presence. Then Bruce spoke softly. "Would you like to test that idea?" Stallone lifted his hands quickly. "Hey, nobody's fighting back here," he said. Bruce shook his head. "No fight," he said. He stepped into the open stretch of hallway. "A demonstration." Tony smirked slightly. "What kind?" Bruce answered simply. "You try to grab me. Full strength." Tony blinked. "That's it?" Bruce nodded. "I will not strike first. Only defend." Ray stepped forward automatically. 10 seconds a round, he said. 3 rounds. The students pressed against the walls. Energy tightening. Tony rolled his shoulders slowly. Joints cracking like wood under pressure. Stallone felt unease creeping in. But curiosity rooted him in place. Bruce stood relaxed. Hands loose. Breathing calm. Ray raised his hand. "Ready." Tony stepped forward. "Begin." Tony lunged immediately. No setup, no hesitation. A massive arm shot forward, aiming to clamp Bruce's shoulders. Bruce slipped sideways, but barely. Tony's fingers brushed cloth. Tony pivoted instantly and grabbed again. This time he caught Bruce's forearm. A partial hold. Tony grinned. "Got you," he said. Bruce twisted sharply, rotating along the grip instead of fighting it. He slipped free, but not effortlessly. Tony surged forward in a bull rush. Bruce had to step back. Once. Twice. Forced movement. Ray cut in. Time. Tony stepped back, smiling broadly. "Told you," he muttered. Stallone felt relief. This made sense again. Bruce simply nodded. No frustration. No urgency. Tony cracked his neck. Fast, he thought, but small. Bruce looked at him quietly. "Again," he said. Bruce adjusted subtly, feet closer together, weight lighter, less visible tension. Tony noticed. "You ready?" he asked. Bruce nodded. Ray raised his hand. "Begin." Tony surged again, faster now, a wide sweeping grab. Bruce wasn't there, not faster, earlier. Tony blinked. He attacked again with the other arm. Bruce stepped inside the arc, collapsing the grabbing space. Tony's hand closed on air. Tony hesitated. Bruce slid past him, already at his flank. Tony turned sharply, annoyed now. He lunged again. Bruce dipped his weight and guided Tony's arm with minimal contact. Tony stumbled half a step forward. Confusion flickered. He attacked harder. Bruce moved sooner. Smaller adjustments, less distance wasted. Every grab met emptiness. Tony's breathing deepened. Frustration rising. He roared and charged fully. Bruce pivoted lightly. Tony rushed past him. "Time," Ray called. Tony stopped, chest rising faster. His grin was gone. Stallone's eyes narrowed. Something had shifted. Bruce stood calm. "Barely touched. You feel the difference?" Bruce asked quietly. Tony didn't answer, but doubt had entered. Bruce raised one hand slightly. "Last round," he said. Tony nodded once. No smile now. Ray lifted his hand. "Begin." Tony exploded forward with everything. Speed, weight, anger, a massive double-arm grab. Bruce stepped diagonally before impact formed. Gone early. Tony spun and grabbed again. Bruce lowered slightly and redirected the wrist. Tony's own momentum twisted him offline. He stumbled, growled. Charge again. Bruce moved sooner still, not faster. Earlier, always just outside the line of force. Tony's breathing turned heavy. He swung wildly now, control slipping. Bruce stepped in suddenly. A small touch to Tony's elbow. Tiny, almost nothing, but it destroyed everything. Tony's structure collapsed instantly. His knees dipped as alignment vanished. His own mass folded inward. No strike, no throw, just misalignment. Tony staggered backward, and slammed into the wall. And then the hallway went quiet. No footsteps, no whispers, only Tony's breathing, heavy, unsteady. The largest man in the building leaning against concrete, trying to understand why he couldn't stand straight. Stallone stared. Bruce stood still, untouched. Tony leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Ray handed him a towel without a word. No one celebrated. Bruce walked closer calmly. He didn't loom, didn't dominate. He crouched slightly so they were eye level. Tony looked at him, confused, not angry. "How?" he asked quietly. Bruce answered softly, "You used strength without structure." Tony listened. "Your power moves forward," Bruce continued. "Straight lines, direct pressure." Tony swallowed. Bruce gestured lightly. "I removed the line. Your strength had nowhere to go." A pause. "Big force needs alignment," Bruce added. "Without alignment, it collapses." Tony closed his eyes briefly. He felt it now. Bruce tapped his own chest. "Size is an advantage," he said, "but only if supported." He paused. "Structure first, then power." Tony nodded slowly, understanding replacing pride. Stallone stepped closer, quiet now. "That wasn't about hitting," he said. Bruce shook his head. "No." Tony looked at Bruce again. "Can you teach that?" he asked. Bruce smiled faintly. "I can show the principle. You must build it yourself." Tony nodded. Ego gone. Only respect. They stayed nearly an hour. The venue faded into the background. Bruce showed alignment drills, standing balance, rooting without stiffness. Tony struggled. His body wanted brute force. Bruce guided gently. "Relax here," he said, tapping the shoulder. "Let the ground hold you." Slowly, something shifted. Tony stood differently. Less rigid. More connected. Not mastery, but awareness. Stallone watched every second. A seed planted. At the exit, Stallone extended his hand. Firm grip. Quiet gratitude. "Thank you," he said. Bruce nodded. "Keep learning." Years later, Stallone would build legends. Rocky, Rambo, icons of power and endurance. But beneath the muscle, there was always restraint, control, economy, structure. And in rare interviews, he would sometimes say, "The most dangerous man I ever saw wasn't the biggest. He was the one who made strength useless." Because real dominance isn't louder force, it's deeper structure, not overpowering others, but letting their power collapse on itself.